You're watching NBA Now live here on Chat Sports. I am your host, Chase Sr. Give me a follow on Twitter at Chase_Senior. And today's show brought to you by our friends at Manscaped. Be sure to head to manscaped.com/chat. And when you go there and you make a purchase, you get 20% off plus free shipping. So the NBA made some announcements this week as for the schedule coming up here in the next couple of months. The draft combine is going to take place from June 21st to June 27th. The NBA draft lottery will take place on June 22nd. And the much anticipated NBA draft scheduled for June 29th. You might say, well, that's much later than previous years. That's because the coronavirus has kind of messed up all of the scheduling here. So that's why those dates have been pushed back. And I'll ask you this. If you want a full first round mock draft, we're only doing the lottery today, make sure you smash that like button. A couple more people have hit that like button here on the show. We're up to 109. Let's get a few more likes. And if you do so, we will be sure in the coming days to bring you another mock draft. But this time, instead of just doing the NBA draft lottery, we will do an entire first round. And we know by looking at the numbers out there, people love mock drafts. Let's kick off the NBA lottery mock draft with my number one overall pick going to the Minnesota Timberwolves, and that is Jalen Suggs. Now, a lot of people watching might say, oh my gosh, Cade Cunningham isn't at number one? You are absolutely crazy. Look, the difference between these two players is not great. I think they're on each other's heels. And as of right now on this Friday, I have Jalen Suggs number one overall on my big board, and I think he's the best fit, the best player to go to the Minnesota Timberwolves. And throughout the NCAA tournament, with Gonzaga making it to a Final Four, possibly a national championship if the Zags defeat UCLA, I think we've seen that Jalen Suggs' game really translates to the next level, and I think he's been able to improve his stock. I look at his offensive package. Any guy that has a step-back three in his game, I think that translates to the next level. I also love Suggs' playmaking abilities. He's not as big as Cade Cunningham. He's about 6'4", as opposed to Cade Cunningham being 6'8", but I don't think athleticism is a problem. I think this guy is a great leader. I think he can be a great scorer. I also think he can be an awesome creator off the dribble. And in terms of vision as well, I have been blown away by Jalen Suggs. I have him going number one to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Number two, the aforementioned Cade Cunningham. I thought he was outstanding throughout this year for the Oklahoma State Sooners. I thought Oklahoma State was fantastic, and I thought Cade Cunningham had a fantastic year. I mean, you look at these numbers side to side, right? And you might say, okay, Cade Cunningham, much more points per game as opposed to Jalen Suggs, 20.1 to 14, right? This is the thing. I mean, for the Cowboys at Oklahoma State, there weren't that many players on the roster who are NBA prospects. But for Jalen Suggs, on the other hand, he's playing with multiple pros, so that's why the scoring output much higher for Cade Cunningham than Jalen Suggs. But again, these two players are so close, but I think Cade Cunningham or Jalen Suggs, whether they go one or two, they will be a great fit to either the Timberwolves or the Houston Rockets. Number three, a guy who a lot of people probably haven't heard of much, and that's because he elected not to play in college this past year, and that's Jalen Green. He's been playing for the G League Ignite. So I think it's unfortunate that these rules in college basketball have caused some of these players to skip out on college because we don't get to see Jalen Green have a season like Cade Cunningham had, or like Jalen Suggs had. Jalen Green, though, is expected to be a premier prospect, and he could really go two. He could go number three. He's been really impressive with the Ignite. We just haven't really heard much about him because he's been playing in the G League, but I have him going number three to Detroit. Going number four, Evan Mobley, another guy like Jalen Suggs, really improved his stock and improved some awareness around him throughout the NCAA tournament. He is long. He is lanky. He is athletic. And if he continues to improve his game and maybe adds a pull-up mid-range jumper to his game, and he evolves and adds a three to his arsenal, Evan Mobley is a guy who will remind a lot of people athletically like kind of James Wiseman, and I like him going number 4 to Orlando. I know they have Wendell Carter, but you put those two in the front court together, and I think that's a dynamic duo at the forward and center spots that Orlando can build with. So who is the best prospect in the 2021 class? If you think it's Jalen Suggs like me, type S. If you think it's Jalen Green, type G. If you think it's Cade Cunningham for the Oklahoma State Cowboys, type C. Or if you think it's Evan Mobley out of USC, type M. We continue on with our NBA lottery mock draft, and going number 5 to the Cleveland Cavaliers, another guy who is playing for the Ignite at the G League level, another guy who a lot of us haven't heard of because of that reason, Jonathan Kuminga. So Jonathan Kuminga is a guy who can be a playmaker at the NBA level, and in 13 games at the G League level this past year, you saw his potential on display. Averaging almost 16 points per game. He can rebound the basketball as well. He can dish out a couple of dimes per night. The field goal percentage, not what you'd like it to be, but I think it's important to note that these guys who go to the G League, yeah, it might be the G League and it doesn't get enough attention or as much attention as the college ranks, but you also have to think about this, that every player who is in the G League is a pro. So for a high school player making the jump to the G League, that is still a high school to pro jump, and that's why the numbers for some of these guys might be a little lower than you expect, but the whole thought process is here, you buy low on development and hope that they can develop over time. Today's show brought to you by our friends at Manscaped. Hey, my man out there, I mean, if you want the perfect package, we have an answer for you. Manscaped saves balls, Chat Sports saves balls. And if you're like hanging with your lady this upcoming weekend and she's looking at you and she's like, hey, I mean, you got to clean it up down there, we have an answer for you. If you go to manscaped.com/chat, you get 20% off plus free shipping, and the products are endless. So if you just want to go with a little trim, you go with the Lawnmower 3.0. There's even a little like buzzer gauge so you don't nick yourself, you don't start bleeding, and you can get rid of some hair down there. And the products across the board, we've all used them here at Chat Sports. They work well, they are long lasting, they are very effective. I know I really like the boxer briefs, especially when I go out on runs because I don't want everything flopping around down there. And how about the toiletry bag? I think toiletry bags are very underrated because you can throw all your stuff in there, and if you got to go on a quick road trip, packs easily into a suitcase. The ball deodorant, for my people who like to work out there, you put some ball deodorant down there, takes away the smell, and then the ball toner, another great product. So I just mentioned multiple products there thanks to our friends at Manscaped, and if you want the perfect package, you can basically take care of that, 20% off plus free shipping, thanks to our friends at Manscaped. We move on with our NBA lottery mock draft, going number 6 to the Washington Wizards. Keon Johnson, guard out of Tennessee. He just declared that he was going to enter the NBA draft. And for the Washington Wizards, look, I think it's time to look to possibly rebuild. Say you trade away Bradley Beal. Say you trade away Russell Westbrook. And you say, you know what, we're hitting the reset button. We just want to reset here, and we want to bring back assets for Bradley Beal, and we want to rebuild. Keon Johnson could be a very good player to help rebuild with. Davion Mitchell, one of my favorite players in the NCAA tournament. This is a guy who has a lot of experience at the college level, so he's not going to be as young as some of these younger prospects because he's been in Baylor for a couple of seasons now, but he's one of my favorite prospects. Now, some people out there might be saying, Davion Mitchell, number 7, his stock is soaring because he's shown in the NCAA tournament. He can create off the dribble. He can hit dribble pull-ups. He can knock down threes, but he is also a ferocious defender. And I love the energy in which Davion Mitchell plays with. And I think if you put him at a player development factory like Toronto, he will end up being a very good player. Look at what they've done with Fred VanVleet, with Pascal Siakam, OG Anunoby. They get their hands on Davion Mitchell in Toronto, he's going to be fantastic. How about Scotty Barnes? What Leonard Hamilton has done at Florida State has been so underrated. It seems as though they make it to the Sweet 16 every single year. Scotty Barnes was a big reason why Florida State was getting so much national attention this entire season. I have him going to Orlando here, and that is the pick that comes back in the Nikola Vucevic trade, and I think Scotty Barnes would fit in well with what Orlando is trying to do. They have some young guards on the roster. Markelle Fultz coming back from that torn ACL. I think they need a forward. Scotty Barnes could be that option. Who do you think is the most underrated prospect in this draft class? There are a lot of them. I think some people are sleeping on Evan Mobley, but now that people watch him in the NCAA tournament, they're like, this cat is for real. But get into the comments and let me know your most underrated draft prospect in this upcoming class. We move forward with our NBA lottery mock draft. And going number 9 to the Oklahoma City Thunder, Moses Moody. So the Thunder, they have a bevy of draft assets for the next 5-10 years, all thanks to Sam Presti. This is one of their picks. And this is another team, along with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Can you imagine a backcourt with him once he comes back from that foot injury and Moses Moody, a guy who got some great coaching at the college level? Really like this pairing with Moses Moody going to OKC. We move forward with Corey Kispert. So Kispert, he's got a great head of hair, right? And he's playing for Gonzaga right now alongside Jalen Suggs. And I think some people are sleeping on him a little bit as well. This is a guy who can play forward, stretch the floor, can give you some size down low, but he can also knock down some threes as well. And I love the energy in which he plays with. The hair is great. The shooting percentages, even better. Almost 54% from the deck. We're talking about a 45% three-point shooter. And everybody focuses on Jalen Suggs, Jalen Suggs, Jalen Suggs. My man right here is the second best option. He's just been somewhat overshadowed by a guy who's probably going to go 1, 2, or 3 in the upcoming draft when speaking of Suggs. If you want more NBA videos throughout the entire 2020-2021 season, or if you want more NBA mock drafts, hit that big red button down below. And we're approaching 240,000 subscribers here on our main Chat Sports YouTube channel. So, hey, hit that subscriber button. And more subscribers means more videos, means more opportunities for us to do NBA mock drafts like this or news and rumors covering the NBA. Head to youtube.com/chatsportstv. We continue on with our NBA lottery mock draft. I have Kai Jones, the center out of Texas, going to the Indiana Pacers. My thought process here is that if the Pacers decide to rebuild, hit the reset button, and they trade away Miles Turner, Kai Jones, who is really long, really athletic, could fit in nicely with the Pacers. Zaire Williams, I have him going to the Sacramento Kings. I know Sacramento has been in the bunker for so long. I actually like what the Kings are doing, building right now, because they have De'Aaron Fox, who I think is going to be a bona fide superstar. I really like the draft choice last year of Tyrese Halliburton, and I think Zaire Williams could be a wing player, a forward, who could fit in nicely in addition to those players. And if we're talking about character guys, you have Halliburton and you have Zaire Williams, who went to Stanford. I like the makings of the culture for a Kings franchise that has lacked that in previous years. Number 13 overall, James Bouknight out of UConn. He just declared for the NBA draft a couple of days ago. This is a really exciting player. And the thought process here, you pair him up with Ja Morant. Yeah, that's fireworks in the backcourt in Memphis, a place that I know likes to party. They like barbecue, they like good music, and they love their basketball. And James Bouknight put up some numbers with the Huskies this past season, almost 19 points per game. He's a guy who can rebound the basketball as well. As he continues to develop as an NBA player, I'd like him to become a better facilitator and creator. But if he goes to Memphis, you already have a guy who can do that in Ja Morant. So I think James Bouknight could be an ideal fit on that Memphis Grizzlies roster. Going number 14 to the Golden State Warriors, wrapping up this NBA lottery mock draft, Jalen Johnson. So he has slipped on this draft board, not because he decided to leave Duke early, not because I don't think he's a good player. I just think some of these players ahead of him are better. And I think a team like the Golden State Warriors could look at a guy like Jalen Johnson and really bet on his upside. And I love how the Warriors have been able to develop players over time. I think they'd really be able to develop Jalen Johnson. He got great coaching for the time that he was at Duke under Coach K. But hey, He goes to the Warriors with Steve Kerr, and I think Jalen Johnson could be an excellent player for the Warriors if they continue to develop him. Today's show brought to you by our friends at Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com/chat. You get 20% off plus free shipping. I've used all of these products, and they are tremendous, especially the Lawnmower 3.0. Hey, every couple of weeks, you got to go down there. You got to trim up because you got to be looking good for the lady. To get down there, she doesn't want to have to go through a forest, and you know how you can take care of that? It's a Lawnmower 3.0 thanks to our friends at Manscaped. So if you want one of the hottest deals out there, head to manscaped.com/chat. You get 20% off plus free shipping, and in addition to the Lawnmower 3.0, they offer a bevy of other fantastic products. Ball toner, ball deodorant, Manscaped boxers. They save balls, and since they partner with us, we're trying to help you save your balls as well. To wrap up this NBA lottery mock draft and to summarize things up, I have Jalen Suggs out of Gonzaga going number 1 to Minnesota. Cade Cunningham going 2 to Houston. Jalen Green from the G League level going to the Pistons. Evan Mobley, the star out of USC, going to the Orlando Magic. Jonathan Kuminga going to the Cleveland Cavaliers. We move forward. Keon Johnson out of Tennessee going to the Washington Wizards. Maybe they hit the rebuild. Davion Mitchell, one of my favorite prospects in this class, going 7th to the Toronto Raptors and their player development factory. Scotty Barnes, a lot of upside there out of Florida State, going 8 to Orlando. Moses Moody out of Arkansas going to Oklahoma City. Corey Kispert from Gonzaga going to the New Orleans Pelicans. Corey Kispert, whatever you want to call him. I've heard it said both ways. Kai Jones going 11 to the Indiana Pacers. Zaire Williams going 12 to the Sacramento Kings. James Bouknight going 13 to the Memphis Grizzlies. And Jalen Johnson, number 14, to the Golden State Warriors. So, hey, there's my first NBA mock lottery draft right there. Grade it for me. Get into the comments. You can give me an A. You can give me a B, a C, D, or F. Hey, I'm new here. I'm trying. I'm doing my thing. And looking at those draft prospects, can't wait for the NBA draft. But let me know how I did on my first mock.